shift your perspective. Make sure that you understand how to look at your life as one filled with autonomy and control instead of one in which you've lost all of those things. You do that, and I guarantee you're going to come out of this crisis potentially even stronger than you did before.
Welcome to the Ignited Recovery Podcast, a new way forward for anyone looking for answers but feeling left out. If you've been searching for empowerment, triumph, and purpose, you've found them right here. You won't hear the same solutions, and you're not going to have any excuses to fall back on, because Ignited Recovery allows heroes to rise and become their best selves. I'm Dr. Adi Jaffe, and I can't wait to be your guide on this journey. Are you ready to become an ignited hero?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Ignited Recovery Secrets Podcast. I'm Adi Jaffe, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. You can hear my voice is back. Very, very excited about that. And we are in the middle of COVID-19, Corona craziness. As I'm recording this, California at large has just been placed on essentially safe at home kind of restrictions. We're not at martial law yet, but I know this is causing a lot of anxiety for a lot of people. So I want to go into some details on how to get yourself out of that tailspin, hopefully, and also give you some ideas about resources that Ignited is coming up with. So first of all, as of this moment, we still are giving 2 weeks free of our weekly chats. Those happen now 4 times a week because I added a group because of the coronavirus. So that means 4 times a week, you'll have somewhere to go to ask questions, connect with others remotely, and have some support. We will have the link for that below, and also some of the stuff that I'm basing a lot of the conversation of what we're going to have here today on is a workshop that I just gave. It was insane. We gave it for like $4 or something insane like that when we did it live, again because of coronavirus. But I just want to reiterate for you guys, a lot of the content that I'm giving here today comes from the research, the 4 to 6 months worth of research I did for a workshop that was created way before this coronavirus thing happened, but talks about how do we get joy and contentment in our life. And I think it's even maybe more relevant right now than before. So a couple of things. I know a lot of us are freaking out right now, and I want you to understand. I mean, I know part of the reason why you're freaking out is because of all this unknown, but I want to break that down a little bit more for you. And so the analogy that I've started providing for people is that there are kind of 3 pieces that are required for you to even be ready to accept, maintain, and move forward in finding more joy and contentment and satisfaction in your life. And then there are 3 factors with like a 4th little sliver, like a cherry on top with some whipped cream to allow you to really expand that joy and get much, much higher levels of satisfaction in life. I use the analogy in the workshop of a glass, and so the outside of the glass is made of safety, sustenance, and shelter. Those are the 3 main ingredients that you're going to need to even allow the vessel that will be filled with your contentment, joy, gratitude, etc. in life to be complete. If one of those is not in place, safety, sustenance, or shelter, or all of them, you can think of that as these massive cracks in this glass, in this vessel. And then any joy, any contentment, any satisfaction that you have in life is going to have a really, really hard time holding on. So when I talk about sustenance, I'm talking about eating and drinking and sleep, obviously. But in general, I want you to take care of your machine. Drink lots of water, eat healthy food. I understand a lot of us are hoarding and keeping foods that will sustain us for long periods of time and will not go bad, non-perishable foods. But eat the healthy food that is going to go bad first, right? Get the sleep that you need. We just did an interview with Andy from Blue Blocks. Get yourself the protection you need so you can get the right sleep. Your body was going to be better prepared to ward off any potential infection, first of all, but also it's going to be better equipped to filter your own stress hormones and neurotransmitters, because as you're going through this stress, adrenaline and cortisol and things like that are being released into your blood and in your brain. And if your body isn't well equipped. If it's not well nourished, it doesn't have sleep, and it doesn't have a lot of water, it's not going to operate optimally to do that. So that's around sustenance. When it comes to safety, I'm going to talk more about this here in a moment, but safety is not only physical safety. Obviously, physical safety is being threatened right now, which is what is so difficult for so many of us, because all of a sudden society at large has found itself with this massive crack in its glass, right? All of us are having a hard time holding on to contentment and joy. Safety is also about being able to predict your future, knowing what's coming tomorrow, knowing that you understand the world around you. In that sense, this idea of social distancing or of getting a measure of control over your environment is hugely important, not just for the prevention of the spread of the virus. It's important for that and flattening the curve and all these other amazing things that you've heard. But it's also important so that you know and you understand who are you letting into the world, who is getting outside of your world, and therefore, how are you exposing yourself to that? So safety in terms of control is really important here, and we'll talk about that more in a second. And then finally, shelter. Obviously, one of our dear friends kind of moved in with us, mainly because the place she lives at, she would be isolated and feel less comfortable, and so she came here. If you are at a stressful time in your life in terms of shelter, in terms of where you literally live, that's going to cause deep fractures right now for you in terms of feeling content, feeling safe, being able to do the next part of what we're going to talk about, which is really centered on feeling complete, feeling good still, even in this time of stress. And so one of the things that I tell everybody, if this outside of your glass is suffering right now, safety, sustenance, and shelter, the 3 S's, really hone in and practice your breathing exercises, right? Sustenance is, like I said, is partially about this reducing stress. It's partially about taking care of your machine. Sophie and I have talked about this breathing technique, this 4-7-8 breathing exercise for a little while now. I use it. The nice thing about it is your breath is always with you. If you find yourself stressing out, feeling unsafe, first of all, go back to those measures of what can I control around my environment, but also this exercise. You breathe in for 4 seconds. You hold for 7. And then you slowly exhale for 8. I'll do this once, 3, 4, 5 times in the middle of the day, but sometimes I'll do it 4, 5, 6 times in a row. Use it as a really simple exercise. Now, if you're in a place where you can get those outside, those 3 S's, safety, sustenance, and shelter taken care of, you're going to have to go to the inside now. And inside, we've got control, competence, and connection. Now, connection is really tough right now. I'm not going to be able to go into everything that I talked about in the workshop, but I want you to really think about the connection and control that we're going to talk about here in a second. So, still connect with others. I really urge you not to isolate. Again, that's why we offer these free 2 weeks to allow you to tune into a group and talk to me, to other coaches, to others who are struggling. But also in your own life, how amazing is it that we live in this age where you can connect to almost anybody in your life with a video chat? You can not only talk to them and hear them like you have been able to for years and decades with a phone, but you can see them. FaceTime your family, FaceTime your friends, have conversations with people and keep connecting. Connecting is really, really important, and we have the tools for that. We've also just opened up a Facebook group called IGNTD Community. And please, you can go in there. I go in there live a couple of times a week. Sophie and I do it once or twice a week. Go connect with us. We'll have a link to that here as well. Now, one of the things that is really terrifying for a lot of us is we found ourselves out of work. Offices are closed. Some companies have literally shuttered their windows and doors. Others have just said, hey, you're on furlough for 2 weeks, 4 weeks. It's unknown. Part of that is boredom, but the other part is competence. And that's a second C of the inside. We want to feel like we're doing something that we're good at and is meaningful and acknowledged by others. It's what I love about doing these podcasts, but it's also why I added another group every week to the Ignited online chats. It's why I go live in the group more, because I know what I'm good at. It's something I think I can help others through. So I want to urge you to do that. If you do something that can help others, don't stop it right now. Do more of it and do it within the confines of what's available to you. Robbie Williams just did a live concert on Instagram. How amazing is that, right? He can't have shows, but he knows he's good at lifting people's spirits through song and music. So he did it. What are you good at? Are you good at cooking? Can you offer people really simple recipes with things that are easy to get right now? Are you a great singer, songwriter, artist of some sort? Offer help to the community at large. It's also going to help others, which is massively important, but it's going to help you because it's going to make you feel useful and competent. And so that's incredibly, incredibly important. And that parlays into the last piece of this, which is having autonomy or control is really important. Now, our safety is being threatened because we're not unsure about what's happening with this virus, and we are being told more what to do. So we are getting less control. Well, guess what? Control is also a matter of perspective. As a guy who's been in jail, I can tell you that when you are locked down, you still need to have a measure of control. Like when I was actually in jail, you sit down, you do push-ups, you use your bed to do pull-ups, you do jumping jacks because you're exercising. And by exercising, you are literally exercising control over your body. I would read, I would write, I would do whatever I could to have some measure of autonomy in this restricted world. And the same thing happens now. My jail cell is much nicer now, but I have to figure out a way to feel relatively autonomous in what's going on. If you don't and you just give in and all you do all day is read about what you can't do and focus on how you're limited and restricted and think over and over and over about all the ways in which you have lost control of your life, you will spiral. Period. Point blank. So don't do it. Okay? So again, just to kind of review for us for today, you got to take care of your outside vessel. Safety, sustenance, and shelter. We talked about a few of those things in there. The breathing exercise, the eating the right stuff, all of those things are really, really important. And then on the inside, you've got to connect with others. Use the tools that you have. Use the things you're good at to help others. It'll also help you. And then finally, shift your perspective. Make sure that you understand how to look at your life as one filled with autonomy and control instead of one in which you've lost all of those things. You do that, and I guarantee you're going to come out of this crisis potentially even stronger than you did before because you're going to have these tools in place, but at least not damaged by the experience too much. This is a weird time. It's a weird time for us all. There's a lot of unpredictability, right? Things are shifting day by day for sure, week by week. And so I don't know how long we'll be in this situation, but let's make the absolute best of it. Do me a favor. As you're finishing this up, take a screenshot. Obviously, subscribe to the podcast, but take a screenshot and share it on Instagram, on Facebook. Go join us in the community. Tell us what resonated the most for you. And then if you have additional tips, please share them with us. This is about our community coming together, helping all of us together make it out of this as the best that we can. Thank you so much for joining me. Go check out the free groups. Come check us out on the IGNTD Community Facebook group. Love you all. Have a great weekend. Remember to use this time for reflection, read the books you've been wanting to read, watch the movies you've been wanting to watch, do the self-work that you've been looking forward to and haven't had the time. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ignited Heroes Recovery Podcast. I really hope you found the information here useful and that we'll see you back here next week. And look, I want to make sure that this podcast is the most useful it can be for you, so please let me know by emailing info@ignited.com if there are any specific topics or questions you'd like to have addressed. As usual, if you like this episode, I would love for you to leave us a 5-star review and rating. Thanks, and see you next week.